All right, hey guys, what's going on? Video number 10, just checking in with a quick update. So I was actually doing some lat pull downs earlier this week, and first set felt great, no problem. Again, real light rehabilitation type weights. And second set, round rep 10 or 11, just felt a little funniness, in that right arm. So dropped it immediately, scrapped the rest of the lat pull downs for the day, finished up all my other exercises, no problems. But as I was driving home, I just kept thinking like, man, I sure would like some peace of mind about what's going on in there, and for those of you who've been following along, a couple weeks back, I shared kind of how my 6-week follow-up had gone, basically that I didn't have one, and kind of walked out and just soldiered on with my own rehabilitation protocol, and haven't been back since, haven't really given it a second thought. But in thinking like, humility is a word that, it's something I think every man probably struggles with, but I talk to my kids about it. I try and have honest conversations with myself about it. And like I've always said, if you don't humble yourself, eventually you will be humbled. So with that in mind, it's like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to my doctor's office and just see if I can reschedule a follow-up, because it's the 12-week mark. That's probably assumably that's when they ask you to come back anyways. And so, just get a true, expert opinion on how everything was going. So I called, made the appointment, set it up, no problem. I was in there like a day later, which is great. Actually saw the doctor this time. They took an x-ray. They looked at my sockets and my hardware, which your sockets are, when they drill that hole through your bone. You've got a socket on either side, so they are checking to see that bone is growing around, calcifying, whatever you want to call it, around the tendon and the anchor. And so, and then everything's, I guess, where it's supposed to be, which is great news. So he told me everything looked great there to keep doing what I was doing. So that was very reassuring. The one question I forgot to ask was, and again, because I'm just kind of a head case, particularly when it comes to this stuff or through this process, was, if everything looks good on the x-ray with the sockets and the hardware, assumably the soft tissue, the tendon and everything going on in there is also fine. Which brings me to another point. Just if you're, again, don't go to the doctor very much. I've had to go way more than I'd care to, with this whole thing. My wife actually gave me this advice when the whole thing started. She said, hey, just write down a couple of questions, because you're going to get in there in the office, with the doctor, you're going to forget. And, as usual, she was spot on. I had a couple of questions that I meant to ask, but I just forgot. And, that would have been a great question to ask. So, next time I'll definitely either write them out and just go through a quick refresher before I get in there, or maybe just pull them out just in the office. So, I did ask him when this whole thing's going to be done, when I no longer need to see him. And he said 8 weeks from now, whatever, when I hit the 20-week mark, then he'll do a quick follow-up. He said it'll take 5 minutes. And, at that point, I will pretty much be on my way, free and clear to do whatever. And so that'll be here, probably before I know it. And so in the meantime, I just kind of sat back, just, kind of looked at everything and said, okay, I've got to get this nerve situation resolved. And I did ask him about that. He said that just, over time, that'll dissipate, rub it, massage it, things like that will help it, just kind of subside. But I will say this lingering nerve stuff is just, it's getting to me a little bit, in that it's kind of always there. It's not painful, I'm not like, oh, it hurts, but it's just always there. And it's giving me pause with a lot of stuff. And, and I think what I was doing with those lat pull downs, I think just that weird sensation was not my bicep tendon. I think it was just, just some nerve stuff going on. And, but for my own kind of game plan going forward, I think I'm just going to scrap the lat pull down for now, at least with that traditional bar. It has the bend there. I grip it really wide. That's what I've been doing, and for whatever reason, that just feels like it puts a good bit of tension on that tendon. Whereas horizontal pulling movements, like seated rows, machine rows and stuff, never had any issues like that on any of those movements. So I think those are going to be kind of my go-to movements. And I'm going to start doing some more direct bicep work, start doing direct bicep work. And, even if it's just kind of some BFR and, just a lighter dumbbell, because, maybe, just maybe that will help kind of accelerate the healing process for whatever I got going on, with this nerve stuff. So, going to back off the vertical pulling movements. When I do, I want to get back to them though, because I think that's important as far as making sure this thing heals the right way. I'm going to find a bar there at the gym that is more narrow and has handles that I have more of a neutral grip. Because I feel like pulling this way doesn't feel like I'm putting near as much strain initially, especially these next few weeks, as I do when I'm, gripping kind of overhand and real wide like that. And so that's going to be the game plan going forward, at least until some of this stuff just starts feeling a little bit better. And so, yeah, that's kind of, I didn't take a whole lot of videos this week. Not, I've got some squatting in there. I've been doing box squats to a box that's just slightly above parallel. That's just me. I used to be, very serious about the height and depth and below parallel and, at parallel, whatever, all that stuff. Now, I simply find a depth that feels very comfortable to me where, I feel like I can maintain good form. I feel strong in that position. Feels good on my knees, my hips, my back, all that stuff. And that's currently where that is. And so that's what I'm doing off the box to that height, whatever it is. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. It is what is currently working well and feeling good to me. I'm also introducing I'm kind of switching up the pushing movements a little bit, going with back to a straight bar on the military press off pins. I'll show you a video of that as well. And yeah, maybe another video or two, just some movements that I do just to try and mix things up a little bit so it doesn't get too dull for anyone who's interested in, what my training looks like. So that's it. That's all I got. I, again, appreciate you taking a minute to watch. And again, while I'm thinking about it, I know I had a guy comment or ask a question along the lines of, hey, at what point is that tendon fused, to the bone? And I told him 6 weeks. That was not correct. And that is, I'm so sorry. Like, that is not, I'm not a doctor. I know I said that before, and I know everyone who watches this would know that very quickly. But that is a very critical point in the recovery process where the repair is very, it's kind of closed up to an extent. But as far as like a full fusion between, your tendon and your bone, that takes much longer, 20 to 24 weeks from, the repair to where that is like fully fused. But that 6 week mark has a lot more to do with your repair itself and the anchor, the hardware, making sure that everything's set. And at the 6 week mark, that is fairly well set. If you haven't done anything, that you shouldn't have, you should be in good shape there. So again, I am sorry to whomever that was, who was thinking, I don't know, you probably didn't take that too far, hopefully, but at any rate, I just wanted to mention that. So thank you guys again for watching. And again, if you're got any experience, particularly on the nerve side of things, where you're at the 13 week mark and you're still kind of dealing with that, let me know, because, as I've mentioned time and time again, I'm done searching the internet trying to find answers. I want to just connect with people who have actually experienced it and get their insight, what they had to do or what they experienced. That to me is just invaluable and way better use of time than trying to find something on the internet somewhere to get an answer. So appreciate it. See you next time.